I was so hungry. All I wanted was a cup of water and some of my mother's stew, but I couldn't figure things out well enough to form the words. But that's when the man that I had never seen before, he sent my sister to get me something to eat. And for the first time, she actually did what she was told without arguing. That was over 1.5 years ago. But when I saw him today, it all came flooding back. My father didn't want me here today, and he's a man that's pretty much used to getting whatever he wants. In my family business, he rules the roost, and people at the synagogue pretty much just do whatever he says without question. But at my house, between my mother and my sister and I, he's outnumbered. He's pretty good-natured about it. I mean, he grumbles every now and then about never having any quiet or about all the perfume and ribbons throughout the house. But I know deep down he enjoys being able to provide those things for us. When the fever hit me year before last, my father just sat by my bedside, wiping my forehead off with a cool wet cloth. He sent my sister to get the physician, but there was nothing he could do for me. But still, my father sat there, mopping my forehead off with the wet cloth and singing songs and telling me stories and just saying, "Be strong, my sweetness, be strong," over and over again. But I couldn't do it. The sickness was just too much. I couldn't see, speak, or breathe, and I was burning up from the inside out. And then I died. Funny, huh? No one should be able to say that they remember dying. But I do. It's like being in this deep pit that just crumbles in on you. Pressure, heat, darkness, and then nothing. But then, and this is the confusing part, then I felt a hand pick up mine, and I could feel the warmth of the other hand, even though I knew my own was cold and lifeless. And I knew somewhere in my dead mind that I shouldn't be feeling this, and I knew that I shouldn't be thinking about not being able to feel this, but that one spark in the darkness, that one moment that shouldn't have even been, is the most baffling thing I could ever imagine feeling. And then I heard him. It was like a voice muffled by distance at first, like I was hearing him from the next room. But then he spoke again. "Little girl, get up." And at first I was a little annoyed. I mean, I've hated being called little girl ever since I was 9 years old, and at the time I was almost 13. But that annoyance was burned away by that spark of awareness that soon blazed into a flame and then into an inferno, and before I knew it, I was opening my eyes and sitting up and standing up, and my parents were just wrapping their arms around me. My mother was praying and thanking Yahweh, and my father was just repeating, my sweetness, over and over again. And that's when the man sent my sister to get me something to eat. Nothing had ever tasted better, and nothing has since. From that day on, my father kept me by his side whenever he could. He even brought me to the hillside to hear the teacher speak. And I saw people arriving at the hillside that day, and not to brag, but I'm pretty sure I'm one of the world's only true experts on what it's like to be dead. But when I saw people leaving that day, the spark that I had felt, it was in their eyes too, in their conversations. It made me happy. My father, he didn't want me here today because he didn't think that I would understand, but I think I understand better than he does. I know that the man that brought me back to life that day is good, holy, perfect. But I also know that a man that goes around setting fires like that makes people nervous. He makes people nervous who spent their whole lives keeping it dim, keeping it so dim that the darkness can come in pretty close. And today, those people finally got their way. They crucified him. Today, standing next to my father, I saw a nail drive through the hand that pulled me out of the pit. He said, "I thirst, and I wish I could have sent my sister for a cup of water." If anyone deserved it, it was this powerful, caregiving man. He got a sponge full of vinegar shoved in his face instead. My father broke down and wept, and you think I would too. I mean, I know what it's like. I know what it's like when the pit starts to crumble in, and the light fades away, and you're overcome by the shadow of suffering. But I didn't. You want to know why? Because I know that fire spreads. I know that even when it's almost out, those tiny embers can burst back into life. After all, I'm living proof.